right, good morning. So as you can see, we got a lot of commotion going on your home site today. I'm actually standing on the lot next door, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay over the pump truck. But as you can see, we've got concrete getting poured. So that is excellent news. If you remember back from the build quality introduction, we talked about this phase of construction. It's essentially phase 2. So once we're done with this, that completes phase 2 of construction. We're ready to move into phase 3. It's gonna be about 2 or 3 days before we actually start framing the house, but you'll start to see all the lumber get dropped on the site. We'll do a rough grade on the property, so everything is gonna look nice, neat, and orderly. And we'll get all the lumber, the trusses, the floor joists all drop on the home site. And that tells us we're essentially ready to start framing. As soon as the lumber gets dropped, they can start standing up walls. And if you remember from the introduction, we talked about the framing process. It's only gonna take us about 9 to 12 days to be fully completed with your framing. So I know we talked a little bit again about the phase 2 stuff. So obviously you can see they're pouring concrete. Again, some of the stuff that we talked about, I'm gonna talk about it right now, and then I'll kind of go a little bit closer and kind of show you some of the stuff that I'm talking about. And it's really the stuff I want to talk about is how we're able to maintain the quality of your concrete, some of the stuff we're doing to make sure that you actually have a very solid foundation, and how we keep our foundations from cracking way worse than you typically see. Again, we talked about the shrinkage cracks, we talked about the stress cracks on your home site or on any foundation that you might pour, but I want to show you guys how we minimize some of that stuff by the materials that actually go into your slab. So let me get a little bit closer here. I'll try to talk a little bit louder so you guys can hear me. But right now what we're looking at right here, you can see they haven't poured it quite yet. They've got the actual footers poured. So essentially what you're looking at right here is about 12 inches down into compacted soil. You can see at the front of the garage there, it's actually dug in, and we call those the footers of the house. So you've got way more concrete right here, obviously, to support all of your exterior walls than you would in some of the other areas of the house. So typically we're digging about 12 inches into compacted soil to give you a total of about 20 inches of concrete total on the outside of the house. There's several other areas within the house where we actually have footers poured, where we've dug channels to get the concrete a little bit deeper to support some of those load-bearing walls. But when it comes to the concrete, some of the stuff we're doing to help keep it from cracking and keep everything together is this welded wire mesh. You can see that grid-like pattern across the garage slab there, and it's held up on these little chairs right there. So what we're trying to do there is essentially get that welded wire mesh in the top third of your actual slab. Again, what that's gonna do is it's gonna help keep that concrete together. I know we talked about one of the other things that you'll see some other companies do is they actually pour a fiber mesh compound into their concrete. We don't do that here. We actually just use the welded wire mesh to keep everything together. Another thing that you see here is the poly vapor barrier. The reason that's so important is because we want to keep the moisture from the actual soil separate from your concrete. Sometimes that'll create moisture issues within your floor, and that's something you don't want to deal with on the warranty end. So we actually give you a poly vapor barrier across this entire foundation of your house to ensure that you don't have moisture seepage through the concrete. Some pretty cool stuff there. You also notice we have all these little straps that go around the outside of the house. We call those Simpson Strong Type Mosses straps. Essentially what those are gonna be doing is they're gonna hold the base plate down to the foundation. That's the first method of strapping that we install on your home, is those little straps right there. And you can see they're pretty evenly spaced throughout the entire exterior foundation. And that's one of the things that helps us get that continuous tie down all the way from the bottom plate to the top plate when we start hanging trusses up there. We want to make sure we have that continuous connection, obviously, to be able to meet those wind ratings and the seismic ratings that your house is engineered and designed for. So pretty cool stuff. Hopefully that gave you guys a little bit of knowledge about what we're doing out here. I know it looks like a bunch of chaos, but it's definitely organized chaos. If you guys have any questions about anything that you guys see here going on, feel free to reach out, call, text, shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But we're gonna be done with pouring this concrete today. It'll probably take them most of the day to get everything finished up, get the broom finish and everything done that we need on the front and back decks. And then they also do a finish on your main foundation. So it takes them most of the day to get a slab 100% complete, but they will definitely be done with this today. And then going into Monday, we're ready to start framing the house. So good stuff here. Other than that, that's all I've got for you this week. Again, if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and I will see you on your next update.